If you're building out a SaaS business and you're trying to find the right SaaS idea, the thing is you don't need to get too fancy. If you look at some of the most successful SaaS businesses that has existed ever, they only boil down to 3 golden ideas. There's only 3 golden ideas that actually exist when it comes to building a successful SaaS business, whether it's a traditional SaaS business or a micro SaaS business. So in this video, on this episode, I'm going to walk you through the 3 golden ideas and how to pick the right one and how to actually go after the right market. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. On this channel, I help SaaS founders like you navigate the path to the next stage of growth, navigate the path to product market fit, and to help you build epic SaaS businesses. I drop an episode like this 3 times a week, so if you're new to the community, be sure to subscribe by hitting that subscribe button and that bell icon so that you get notified every single time I drop an episode. Also, if you're back and you're already part of this community, this unstoppable community of SaaS founders, welcome. It's really great to have you back. Now, if you're building out a SaaS business and you're trying to figure out the right idea, it's really easy to get overwhelmed with the sheer number of ideas that are out there. But here's the thing. There's only 3 golden ideas that actually exist in SaaS. Only 3. So if you're excited to dig in to the actual idea, I'll then tell you how to pick the right market to go after, and then I'll give you some resources to actually dig more into this. So if you're excited to dig in, smash that like button. Okay, so first of all, there are only 3 golden ideas of SaaS. The first one is you're a system of record. This is where you write down everything that you did in your job. When it comes to B2B SaaS, systems of records are kings. If you're a system of record in a particular market, you will have such deep moats, you will have such unique advantages, you can become an epic brand. Want to know what the biggest system of record out there is right now in B2B SaaS? It's Salesforce. And in fact, Salesforce is so huge, so big, they actually just surpassed Oracle in popularity. As of 4 days ago, Salesforce actually passed the market capitalization of Oracle, which is insane because Oracle was started in the 1970s or 80s in archaic times, and Salesforce was started in this century. That's insane. And if you actually look deeper into the history of Oracle and Salesforce, at one point, Salesforce was the underdog, and yet they were able to grow. Why? They were able to grow because they went in for the crown. They went in for becoming the system of record. Now, suppose you're going after a market, and we'll talk more about markets after this, but the system of record is already taken. Then what do? That's when you get to the second golden idea. The second golden type of SaaS idea is the system of engagement. If the system of record is where you go to actually write down what you did, the system of engagement is where you actually do all the things. Toutapp, for example, was a system of engagement for salespeople. There was no way in hell we were going to become the system of record for salespeople. Salesforce had that locked down. And if Salesforce didn't have it, Oracle did. And if Oracle didn't have it, Microsoft Dynamics did. And if they didn't do it, HubSpot did. And if HubSpot didn't do it, there was a long tail of CRM providers that were trying to be the system of record for niche markets. We were like, there's no way we can compete with that. So let's go and be the system of engagement. And for the system of engagement for salespeople actually helped them send emails. It helped them write down their tasks. It helped them follow up. It helped them make phone calls. It helped them run their meetings. All of that was a system of engagement, and it sat on top of the system of record. Now, it's very rare. Most of the time, a system of engagement will never be more valuable than the system of record. So there is a hierarchy to this. So the second golden type is system of engagement. And then finally, there's the third golden type, which is you have a system of record, then you have a system of engagement. The third golden type of SaaS is your system of decision. Let me explain on this one because this one's not as popularly known. System of decision is essentially where you go to make your decisions. This can be a BI tool, a business intelligence tool. This can be an analytics tool. This can be a reporting tool. This can be a bespoke tool that looks at a bunch of data and gives you some predictions because of AI. But that's essentially your system of decision. So basically, you have a pecking order here. The most important thing in any market, in any space, when it comes to SaaS, is your system of record. The second one is your system of engagement, where you actually do the work. You do the work there, and then you actually go and write down what you did in the system of record, but the value of the system engagement provider writes it down for you. So you actually just do the work. And then the third one is your system of decision. Your system of decision is where you decide what you're gonna do. Gives you a bunch of data, gives you insights, maybe gives you some predictions, and based on that, you decide what you're going to do, so you go do it in the system of engagement. And then once you do it, you go write it down in the system of record if the system of engagement doesn't do it for you. Are you guys getting this? When you think about it, if you think about any successful SaaS business anywhere, they fall under one of these three categories. So let's just say you're now saying, all right, cool, I want to do one of these. This is going to be one of my SaaS ideas. How do I pick the right market? If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that market trumps everything. If you have a great market and a mediocre team, an okay product and an okay go-to-market, you can still win. When you can have a phenomenal team, a beautifully built product, an amazing and brilliant unstoppable sales funnel, but if you're in a shitty market, you will not win. You will not get anywhere. So markets matter the most, right? Market essentially trumps team, product, and go-to-market all together. So picking the right market is super important when you're picking your SaaS idea. And the way I like to do it is I like to find specific markets. My biggest question that I ask SaaS founders when they're just starting off is, who do you want to serve? Who are the group of people that you want to serve, that you spent a lot of time with, that you have domain knowledge in? If you can find those groups of people, you want to serve them, the next step is go figure out what market they're in, and then ask, do they already have a system of record? If they have a system of record and it's super legacy, it's outdated like it was with Oracle versus Salesforce, then go disrupt it. But if there's already a system of record and they're brand new and they're in the cloud and they're great, then maybe you don't want to disrupt them. Then maybe your idea for that market should be a system of engagement. If there's already a system of engagement, then your idea maybe should be system of decision. And if there's already a system of decision, then maybe it's a crappy market and you shouldn't get into it. Now let me pause here for a second before I go into how you can apply these ideas into a SaaS or a micro SaaS business. I want you to comment below with a yes if you're starting to get this, if you're starting to see the pattern where you don't really need to make this all complicated. All you really need to do is figure out, are you doing a system of record, system of engagement, or system of decision? Because those are the three golden SaaS ideas. If you're getting that, go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't already. Comment below with a yes if you're not shy and you don't want to complain about me telling people to say yes. I want you to say yes. It's fun. Just do it. It's awesome. Say yes down below. And then let's dig into principle number 3. Now, before we go into principle number 3, by the way, if you are starting a SaaS business, if you are digging more into this, if you're trying to figure out your strategy around your market, be sure to check out my 10-point SaaS checklist guide. Once you hone in on your market and you hone in on the SaaS idea, one of the things you're gonna have to figure out is what type of SaaS business you wanna build. Now, there's two kinds of SaaS businesses. You can either go for a traditional SaaS business, or you can go after a micro SaaS business. Micro SaaS businesses are all the rage today because they are very small, they're self-contained, and they can be incredible revenue generators without a lot of funding. Most importantly, they can go after very specific small niche markets. Let me explain. There's essentially 3 kinds of stores. Let's just forget SaaS business for a second. Think about brands, think about stores. Let's just say, think about your local retail store that you would go to. There's essentially 3 tiers of stores. The first kind of store that you're gonna find in a mall is a global brand. The second, that's kind of like your Walmart, your Best Buy, or Apple, or McDonald's. These are big global brands, right? The second you're gonna find is a regional brand. These are stores that are in specific regions. They're not everywhere, anywhere in the world, but in specific regions they operate. They're not tiny, they may be franchises, they may have multiple locations, but they're not as big like a global brand. And then the third kind of store you might find is a boutique store. These are boutique brands. They're very specific, they're owner operated, they don't have multiple locations, but they sell a certain thing and they give an incredible service and they're very profitable businesses. The same thing applies to SaaS. When it comes to SaaS, you can have a global brand. That's like Salesforce. You can have a regional brand. That's like Hootsuite. They're big, but they're not everywhere, like Salesforce. Or you can have a very boutique brand, a micro SaaS, something like a BuiltWith, which apparently has 1 employee and like millions of dollars in ARR. That's a perfect example of a micro SaaS. There are a lot of cases where you may come across a certain market. That's amazing. It's a great market, but it's not a venture scale market. That market happens to need a system of record or needs a system of engagement. But at the same time, it's not so huge that a venture capital is going to be salivating over it. There's a perfect place for you to actually build a micro SaaS business. When you build a micro SaaS business, they tend to be going after smaller niche markets. They tend to be very well defined. They tend to have a self-service offering. and they tend to actually be profitable, wildly profitable for the founders themselves. So to recap, there's only 3 types of SaaS businesses: system of record, system of engagement, and system of decision. What matters the most when you're picking your SaaS idea is not a crazy idea, you just gotta pick one of these 3, but really figuring out what's the right market, because market trumps everything. You pick the right market, you figure out which one they need, and go build that. And when you're doing that, based on the market that you're picking, based on the market you want to serve, based on the market and the size of that market, you can then pick whether you're trying to build a traditional SaaS business or a micro SaaS business. There's no right or wrong answer to this, it's just what's the right opportunity. The market determines the opportunity. There's no such thing as a great idea in a vacuum. The market decides if it's a great idea or not today, tomorrow, and the day after. So there's a couple of videos that you might want to check out if you want to dig more into this. The first video that might be very valuable for you is to check out my video on figuring out total addressable market. You can check that out over here. I'll also link to it below. I go into much more detail on how to really measure the market and size the market step by step. I also have a brand new video coming out on how to do TAM the right way versus the wrong way. This video down below will give you the primer, but the next video that I'm launching, I think it's coming up on Wednesday, was going to give you a much more practical guide to measuring TAM. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon so you get notified when I drop that video. The other resource I have is if you're about to start a SaaS business, check out this video on how to start a SaaS business. If I were to start one today, I've had nearly 15 years of experience with multiple SaaS startups under my belt in building SaaS companies. So I did a video on what I would do if I were starting one literally today. So you can check that out here. I'll link to it below as well. The last resource I have for you is my 10-point SaaS business checklist. It walks you through a set of questions that you should answer to really validate your SaaS idea. Great SaaS businesses are built on the right market with the right product and the right go-to-market motion, all 3 at once early on. So I have this checklist that you can download. You can follow the link below or go to tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. I'll link to it below as well. Lastly, if you got value from this video, please smash that like button. It means the world to me and my team and the YouTube algorithm. If you have a founder friend, if you have an engineering friend that's always been thinking about quitting their job and starting a business, please share this video with them, share this channel with them. We want to get our word out there to as many SaaS founders as possible. We're building a community, an unstoppable community of SaaS founders. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business, but when you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode. When you think about it, the most successful SaaS businesses that exist anywhere, let me shut this off. This keeps going off. Why does this keep going off? Sorry. Okay, great. Principle number 3 is now that you have your 3 different types of golden SaaS ideas, oh my